Hey, everybody, it's Eddie from Tokyo. This is your cryptocurrency update from Japan, and I want to, in this video, bring some clarity to the XRP ledger, which is public, which is the home of XRP, and then ILP, the Interledger Protocol, because I think there is a little bit of confusion out there. And in addition to clarifying that, does XRP run a private XRP ledger? That is going to be addressed in this video. In addition, what about pricing? So this is coming up so often in the comment section with the current news that has been so great. Why aren't we seeing any price increase? And I have some of my own personal comments to make on that. And we'll see if you agree with what I have to say at the end of this video, which is 3 things everybody can do which will have an impact on price. But first, let's go to this talk where Brad Garlinghouse, the CEO of Ripple, was in Thailand with the Siam Commercial Bank event, and he talked in March at great length about many wonderful things in regards to Ripple and XRP. But I'm going to pull out this minute 42, no, what is this? This is a 2-minute section that talks about the Interledger Protocol and privacy. Okay, here we go. Have a listen.
Look, I'll tell you a quick story by background. One of the first banks that Ripple signed, so today we have a product in market that's, we're releasing version 4. When we launched version 1.0, which is always an exciting time for a tech company, you release a product, it's version 1.0. We launched that product, we were partnered with one of the largest banks in the Middle East, and we went to market, and we went live. And we had a call from a very upset Middle Eastern banker saying, wait a minute, people can see my transactions. I don't want people to see my transactions. So look, blockchain is powerful and a public ledger can be leveraged to make transactions. But banks, I mean, if every SCB transaction was written to a public ledger, would SCB be excited about that? The answer is no, I'll tell you very certainly. The nature of how we have evolved our technology, yes, some of it, XRP is a public open ledger. A different part of Ripple's technology that connects banks to the liquidity solutions, these are private, think about it almost as a private temporary blockchain between 2 banks. It's cryptographically signing the transaction, holding it in escrow and releasing it at the same time, so you never have a situation where a transaction doesn't complete. But the point I would make is, those who espouse this idea of, look, all transactions should be open, I look at that and I think, that is not the real world. We can talk about the origins, particularly around Bitcoin, and to some of the degree other tokens, has been this idea of, hey, we're going to circumvent governments. We don't want the government involved. We're going to circumvent banks. Look, Ripple, we come at it from exactly the opposite point of view. Governments aren't going away. By extension, banks are definitely not going away. We can enable banks to enable an internet of value. If you want to enable an internet of value, you have to connect the repositories of value. The repositories of value are the banks. We want to work with the banks, with financial institutions, with payment providers, with Linlin Pay or PayPal or fill in blank, to dramatically accelerate the nature of how payments occur today and reducing that friction.
Okay, so I think it's very clear. There is the XRP ledger, which is public, and then we have the ILP, which moves those packets of payments across the ILP. All right, now I'm going to take us now to Hamburg, where David Schwartz, the Ripple chief cryptographer, was given a question by someone in the audience, and he specifically asked, is there a public XRP ledger and a private XRP ledger? And here is how David answers that.
Then the Ripple is proprietary technology. So are you running XRP? When I buy XRP, is this token actually used when you transfer assets between corporations? That's number one. Because I could be completely wrong, but I was under the impression that there is two XRP, the public one for crowdfunding, basically, and the one actually used inside.
No, there's XRP is XRP. So, for example, when an XRapid transaction is done, the sender is buying XRP on an exchange like Bitstamp, and they're selling it on an exchange like Bitso to get Mexican pesos. So the liquidity for XRapid is coming from traditional crypto exchanges.
Okay, so XRP is XRP, and there are not two different ledgers, one public and one private. All right, now let's jump over to price. I think we're going to go back to Thailand, and I do believe that this very high level point of view that's given by Mr. Garlinghouse is really worth a listen to. So it is just a minute and 28 seconds long. So here we go.
One of the things I say internally at the company is I don't check the price of XRP every day. I don't check it every few days. You know, for employees at Ripple or even people in the ecosystem, I don't think about the price over 3 days or 3 weeks or 3 months. What Ripple is doing in enabling an internet of value, this is a 3+ year journey. What I know for certain is if we can continue to build the momentum of customer usage, it continues to drive the velocity and demand for XRP. Over a 3+ year time frame, I feel very comfortable about the opportunity to continue to grow the value of the XRP ecosystem, which is good for all participants in the XRP ecosystem. You know, Ripple, has not, unlike some of the other players in the crypto space, we have focused on an institutional use case. And some of the run-up you were describing that happened last December, I think, was in part driven because XRP was kind of unknown. We weren't focused on speculators. We weren't even listed on the most exchanges. For many markets, it's actually hard to buy XRP. And people say, Brad, why aren't you solving that? And I say, I'm not trying to solve a speculator's problem. I'm trying to solve an institutional problem. I'm trying to solve a problem that is measured in the trillions of dollars that is focused on payment providers and banks. And while the gentleman on the street I might bump into, if he or she is interested in the long-term value creation, then I view them as part of the journey, and I want to give a big hug. At least take a selfie with them.
Okay, so that is giving us a really good idea as to the time perspective as he is focused on adding more customers, which will ultimately bring more value to the entire ecosphere, which will in doubt benefit everyone. That is what he is focused on. All right, now we have some big changes that have occurred in the last 12 months, one of which I want to look at is the XRP volume. And here I am on CoinMarketCap, and I know they don't calculate the market cap correctly, but it is a good place for us to look at the 24-hour volume in regards to historical data. So I am on the month of January of last year, 2018, and I just want to take a look at how different it is so we can find the volume in that 24-hour period. There is 9 billion, 7 billion, 5 billion. We come down here, it's not hard to find so many in the 3s and 4s, but also 6, 8, 8. So the volumes were enormous. We had a overall market cap at that time nearly 1 trillion. We are currently now at $125 billion market. And now let's take a look at the volume that we have today. Here is January 18, 2019, and you can see the difference, 376, 433. These are in the millions, so 433 million, 438 million. In fact, if I go back over the last month and a half, I can only find 3 days in which the volume was into the 1 billion mark, and just barely at that. So this is one of the factors. So many people in regards to speculators have left the space, and they left for a couple of reasons. One, it has been a very bad bear market for the last 12 months. Secondly, we had very high rate of failure for ICOs, and there were so many speculators in the space trading when the ICOs were something of a big boom, but 90% of those ICOs have failed. Those speculators left the space and they have not come back. And there's one more factor that is affecting the price, and everybody knows that is the OTC, the over-the-counter sales that are occurring, because it does not reflect any of the price movement on the exchanges. So this OTC, or I should say under the table sales, has just boomed in the last 12 months. And so much of the volume has been off the exchanges. So what is it that we can do, people like you and me, that can have an impact on the space? And here I have an idea. So everybody knows Weetzie Wind has created this spread the love with the XRP Tip Bot paper accounts. And if you are not a Tip Bot user and you own XRP, you need to become a Tip Bot user, and it's very easy to get registered. And then I want to make the suggestion to get other people to have skin in the game. And you can give just 5 XRP to 5 different friends or family, and you can do it with these paper accounts. It is so easy. You can generate this with a simple printed PDF in a way of an invitation, and you give this invitation to someone who does not have any XRP, and all the instructions are on this paper so that they can actually go and download the XRP Tip Bot app on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store and scan the QR code, and voila, they are an XRP holder. So don't be afraid that if you give away 5 XRP to some friend or family, or even like Jungle Inc. says, he's giving them to his waiters and waitresses when he goes out for dinner, the tip will come back to you after 30 days if it is not activated. So if there is not an activation, don't worry, you don't lose your XRP. So this is one way that you can actually increase the people coming into the market cap and the markets and the ecosphere. So I know that it seems like, oh, but just 5 friends and that's not going to make a difference. It's not even going to cost you $10 to do. And if everybody who watches this video did that, it will organically grow. In addition, the people who live in the United States, we know that there needs to be some regulatory clarity. So get going today and write your House of Representatives. Start with your House of Representatives and then move on to your senators. This is a list I will put down in the comment section below. You can find your representative by state and look how easy it is to make contact with these representatives. I just happened to take a look at somebody from Arizona. This is Tom O'Halloran, and he gives you his Twitter account, his Facebook account, his YouTube account, his Instagram account, and his newsfeed account. So there is no excuse to make contact. Have them either get behind a current bill that has been presented, or maybe you can talk them into actually getting behind a new bill. But either way, it, I think, is everybody's responsibility to make contact with their representatives to let them know the importance of the regulatory clarity. And now I'm jumping into the fluff, but before I go there, I had one more idea, and that is very simple. Be kind to everybody in the space. So even if they are not an XRP holder, be kind and hope for everybody's success, because should one person fail, it is actually everybody's failure. You know, the XRP Zoo had Bitcoin Ben on, and the last 24 hours. And I really found it so unbelievably heartwarming. They were having this big debate of what is better in a friendly way, Litecoin or XRP. And at the end of the day, they really, Bitcoin Ben was so sweet. He really said how much love he has for everybody in the space. And he's right. I know it sounds a little corny, but if we just try to be supportive of everybody in the ecospace, at the end of the day, I think we all benefit from it. Okay, so my fluff today is about community. And one of the big communities in Japan are the Shotengais. And Shotengai is the word used for the mom and pop retailers street. And these small retailers, which are found in every town, and many of them throughout the major cities of Japan, they are deeply connected to their localities, taking the lead collectively, and most notably in seasonal activities, festivals, and community-driven events. So it is estimated that more than 15,000 of them are in the nation. And the history is kind of interesting. They date back to the 1500s when the merchants were permitted free markets and they could separate from the powerful guilds. Well, even today, they are strong and they are fighting for their survival. And they do provide, even in this amazing, huge 25 million person city that Tokyo is, you can find very, very connected small communities on the back streets. So when you come to Japan, it's okay. Go see all the big tourist spots, but get off the tourist track a little bit, get into the back streets and go visit one of these Shotengais. You're really going to feel the heart and soul and the beat of the country. And I do have here a site that tells you the 10 best Shotengais in Tokyo. I have been to all of these and they're all good. There isn't one I think is more important than the other. If you get to any one of these, you will be so pleased that you did and that you can really feel Japan, the real Japan, up close and personal. Okay, everybody, that's all I have for you today. Sayonara for now. Take care. Bye-bye.